Hi, I'm Dr. Joe Spoo, the Gundogdoc with Lucky Duck. I wanted to talk about how I run my kennel setup different for the different times of the year. This is going to be the way I roll most of the year, and then as we get into the colder weather, I kind of change things up a bit, both from around the kennel and inside of the kennel. And so you can see during the summer months, and especially most of the early season when it's going to get warm, I'm running no kennel cover on these because I want as much airflow as possible. I run the fan up top because I want that dog to be able to, if they're panting and they're hot, they're standing up, that fan's hitting them in the face. But then if it becomes annoying, they get cooled down, they can lay down, and I'm not constantly peppering with the fan. There are times, I've done other videos where I talk about when you get that dog wet, running it down below, which is one of the nice things. You can change the position of that fan pretty easily. But day in and day out, I'll run it that way when I'm not worried about a dog heat stroking. That allows them to get out of the airflow. And then in this particular setup, I like to run the cot. And again, it's airflow is king, right? So I can get airflow circulating all around that kennel, going under the dog, above the dog, and making sure that dog is in a cool environment. As we get into temperatures like now, single digits, and obviously earlier, I'll switch to the insulated kennel cover, and I run the softer cushion bed in that setup. Again, I think a couple of things. One, that dog's gonna be cold. They've been hunting more of the season, so we're gonna have some muscle fatigue potentially. And I think that this is gonna allow them to have a more comfortable ride. Not that there's anything wrong with the cots, and that's why I run them most of the year. But the other thing too is I think as a dog gets older, I think these kind of cushiony sort of surfaces are great. But you don't want too much cushion, right? So you don't want to have where you just throw one of those old big, almost beanbag type of beds in a kennel. You want just a little bit of firmness where that muscle can relax into the bed, but provides the support. And so then we don't want the ventilation, right? And so we want that dog to be able to trap as much heat when it's a day like today, single digits. However, we do have those mornings where it's pretty chill in the morning, the dogs are kind of cool, and it gets warmer through the day, particularly if you're doing some western bird hunting. And so you'll see, even on a day like today, I have the fan on continuously. And so not running, but the ability to have that fan, because I can create ventilation here. And so there's times where I want that dog warm and comfortable on the ride out to the hunting spot, but then I need to cool them down. And having the fan on all the time, I don't have to run wires anywhere. It's rechargeable. I can have that fan if I need to cool that dog down. So you get a late fall day where maybe it was in the teens in the morning, but then in the afternoon it's in the 60s or 70s. I can still cool these dogs down out in the field. And so those are kind of my basic kind of 2 kennel setups where I change both the bedding and the cover and ventilation system. We'll get some questions sometimes about whether you should have the flap down or not. I almost never completely zip mine, and that's just my personal preference. I don't have the dogs sleep overnight in them though. If I was, right now with it being, below 0 at night, and if I had an uncovered top, I'd probably zip it up all the way. People get worried about, well, how are they going to breathe? And there's built-in ventilation on these, and they're rigid, and so you have rigid vents where that dog's going to get airflow. To me, I think that these kennels are actually so well built, and the covers are. I worry about the dog actually getting warm even on some of these super cold nights. If you've hunted with these and you get done, at the end of the day and you go out to eat and you go to get the dogs back out, they're actually almost warm to the touch, and it gets warm in there. And so I always leave them a little bit of airflow with the zipper, and then I think light as well. I don't like to put them in a complete closed out darkness, but these are my 2 kennel setups. Probably 70% of the year I'm running this, and then the cold time of the year I'm running the kennel cover setup so that I can get that dog added warmth and comfort with the cushion bed.